Hi everyone, I'm Raheem Ramees and welcome you all for Tech Minds Python playlist. Okay, so in this playlist we will learn Python from very basics. Okay, so we will teach Python from the very basics. Okay, so in the first class, so we will discuss so many topics. Okay, for example, in the first class we will learn variables and data types in Python. In the second class we will learn arithmetic operation, then we'll move for loops and conditions, and there are so we will discuss so many things. Okay, so as the first class so in the first class we will learn data types in Python and also variables. Okay, so 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 in the first page, I hope you will have this tute. Okay, so in the first page, have mentioned some like introduction to Python. Okay, so we all know Python, so the Python language, right? Okay, so the Python language is the most like growing programming language, right? Okay, so if you read this note, you will get the idea. So if you take Python language, okay, so Python language, so the Python lesson is the Python language is almost applicable in every sector. So especially I mean data science and AI. Okay, I mean data science and AI. So in our field also most of the time we work with Python. Okay, so and also in the web development like automation and scripting. Even if you take game development, software development, so in almost in every IT sector, okay, so the main language is Python. Okay, uh, so what are the benefits of learning Python in your A levels? Okay, so the first benefit, you will have the solid foundation. Okay, so in this playlist, okay, so throughout this playlist we will discuss so many topics related to Python. Okay, so if you learn Python properly through this playlist, you will have a solid foundation of programming. Okay, and also you will develop your problem solving skills. Okay, especially when it's come to solving problems. Okay, so your thinking is important, right? Okay, so in this playlist, okay, we will provide the solid foundation, and also we will help you to increase your problem solving skills. Okay, so the first topic is, in the first class we will learn about data types and variables in Python. Okay, so before I start lesson, so first we will install Python. Okay, so go to your browser. Okay, so in the browser you just search Python download. Okay, uh, and go to the first link. Okay, so this is the official website for Python, and you download the latest version. Okay, so the latest, this is the latest version, right? Okay, and click download. Okay, so in this one you choose the operating system. Okay, so I have a Windows computer, so and my operating system is 64-bit. Okay, then you install this one. Okay, now it's installed, and now you execute the file. Okay, and you click install. Now Python is installing. So there are so many applications you can use to run Python programs. Like you can use PyCharm, and there's application called Tony, the Visual Studio Code. So there are so many applications. Okay, so this is Python ideally. Okay, so this is the basic application we have. So first we'll learn Python using Python ideally. So after that we'll move for different kinds of application like PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, Tony, and all. Okay, So it's still installing. uh, think Yeah, now it's installed. Now you search Python in your Windows search bar. Okay, Python, and so this is the Python, and you go to open file location. Okay, so these are the files, and you open Python IDLE. Okay, so this is the place where we're gonna write Python codings. Okay, so this is the environment we're gonna use. Okay, as the first topic. So in the first topic, we're gonna learn about data types in Python. Okay, now in day-to-day life. Okay, so into day-to-day life, we deal with text and numbers, right? Is it text and numbers? Okay, so we represent every data using text and numbers, right? For example, I'll take a person, okay, or a student. Okay, so the student name is Raheem. Okay, so think the student name is Raheem. Okay, and his age is 22, and his weight is 68.2. Okay, so these are different datas, right? Okay, so in day-to-day life, okay, so in normal terms we call this data as a text. Is it? It's a textual data, right? So if you take these two, these are numbers. Is it? So these are numbers, right? Okay, so in maths, so we have so many like numbers, integers, and the whole numbers and all. In Python, when it's come to numbers, we have main two. Okay, so we have main two, a number without a decimal point, a number with a decimal point. Okay, so a number without a decimal point. Okay, a number with a decimal point. Okay, so in Python also we have these data types. Okay, so in Python also we have these data types, but when it's come to Python, like we tell, so we assign different names for these data. Did you understand? For example, okay, so we all know to speak in English and singular, right? Okay, for example, if I take home, so in English it is home, right? But in singular it is like either. Okay, so so even if you take another language, okay, so for home or house, we we use different names, right? Okay, so Python is a programming language. Okay, is a programming language. So when it's come to Python, we define these data in different names. That's it. Okay, so when it's come to Python, these textual data we define as strings. Okay, so in day-to-day life we call these data as text. In Python we call these data as string. Okay, so in day-to-day life we have these numbers, right? So when it's come to Python, a number without a decimal point. Okay, a number without a decimal point, we call this number as an integer. Okay, it's an integer. So in day-to-day life we tell it's a number. When it's come to Python, we define this number as a integer. Okay. uh, a number with a decimal point. Okay, a number with a decimal point, we call this number as a float. Okay, it's a float. A number without a decimal point, it's a integer, it's an integer. A number with a decimal point, it's a float. Okay, that's it. Okay, it's really simple. Okay, now straight away we will learn to code. Okay, so for example, so in Python, if you want if you want to output something, we use a command called print. Okay, print is a inbuilt function in Python. It's inbuilt, it is already defined. Okay, if you want to output something, you use print command. For example, think, if now you want to print the student age is 22, right? So when you after the print statement, we always use brackets. Okay, this is how we do. Okay, after the print statement, you always use bracket. So now you just click enter. So if you click enter, now it will print 22. Okay, now the next thing. So when it's come to Python, Python is case sensitive. Okay, so the programming languages are case sensitive, right? So Python is case sensitive. Okay, so the every line, or every code we write in simple. Okay, everything we write in simple, but there are few cases we use capital letters as well. Okay, so I'll explain those things in upcoming classes. Okay, so almost in every cases we use simple. Okay, for example, think you put like this, print everything in capital. Now I'll 22. Okay, now if you hit enter, you will get an error. Okay, now you read the error. So there's something called name error and syntax error. Okay, so we will learn those things in upcoming classes. Okay, so okay, now you read the error. The error is, it's a name error. Name print is not defined. So what is mean by this? Print is not defined. So print is not defined means Python can't understand this. Do you understand? Okay, so this is not defined. Okay, Python, in Python the print is an inbuilt function. Okay, so we have write in simple. Okay, but so even you only put capital P. Okay, now I'll put like this 22. Again you will get an error. Did you understand? Again, this is not defined. Now I'll do like this. Okay, now I'll print. Okay, now I opened the bracket, but I didn't close it. Okay, so the thing is, you can't, in this time you can't run it without closing it. Okay, wait. So you close the bracket and you run it. So if you run now, you will get 22. Okay, is it clear? I hope it's clear, right? Okay, so in this in IDLE shell, okay, in this shell we can write only one code at a time. Okay, only write one line at a time. So if you want to type multiple codes at the same time, what do? You go to this file option, and you click new file. Okay, then it will open a new window. Okay, it will open a new window. So in this window, now you can write multiple lines at the same time and you can execute. Okay, now I'll do the same thing. Now I'll put print 22. Okay, now I'll print this 68.2. Okay, now print 68.2. The last one is print, I'll print my name Raheem. Okay, okay, so when it's come to Raheem, Raheem is a string or a text based, right? It's a textual data. Okay, so text based data or textual data, we put those data inside quotations. It's like this. Okay, string values or textual data we put inside quotations. Okay, now I'll run this. So this is how you run. Okay, so if you run this, it will ask you to save. So first you save the file. Okay, now I'll go to desktop and choose any fault, and I'll put uh, class 1. So this is class 1, so you can use any name. Okay, now if you run this, okay, now you check the answers. Okay, so it will show the output in the IDLE shell. Okay, now first I print 22 and I got 22. Okay, and I print 68.2 and I got 68.2, and then I print Rahim. Okay, and I got Rahim. Okay, so if you print a textual data, okay, so we define the textual data inside quotations, right? But in the output, so in the output we can't see the quotations. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, now what I'm going to do is okay, now I open the quotation but I didn't close it. Okay, I didn't close it. Now we'll see what happens. So before you run it, just hit Control and S to save. Okay, okay, did you understand? Here I'm getting a syntax error. The reason is, so string idle detected at line number 3. Okay, so here we have an error. The reason is we opened the quotation but we didn't close it. Okay, so now I'll close this and I'll run it again. Now if you run this, you will get 22, 68.2 and Rahim. Okay, okay, for strings actually we can use double quotations and also single quotations. Okay, now I'll use single quotations. Okay, the thing is, okay, now we'll see the output for this. I open the text using single quotation but I close the text using double quotation. Okay, now I'll run this. So here also we are getting an error. The reason is, if you open with single quotation you have to close it with single. Okay, with single. So if you open it with double quotation you close it with double quotations. Okay, now I'll run it again. This time I won't get an error. The reason is I open with single and I close with single. Okay, understood, right? Okay, there's one more thing. Okay, so like in English we have this okay, now I'll erase these things. Now you all know these data types, right? Okay, in English we write this letter now want. Okay, want. So this is how we write want, right? Think now we want to print this want. Okay, so when we, so if you want to print want, so this quotation should be there, right? Okay, so in this time we can do like this. Print, you open with double quotation and you put want and you put single quotation T and you close the string with double quotation and you close the bracket. So here what happens, so in this line, in this line this is the string. Did you understand? So this is the full string. So in between this string we have this one, the single quotation. Okay, now I'll run it. Okay, now I'll run this time it print want. Did you understand? So in this time Python takes this one so this quotation also as a data. Okay. Okay. So what happens if you do like this? uh, so what happens? Okay, now I'll run it. If you do like this, here also I'm getting an error. Did you understand? So here what happens is it will end the string with this double quotation. Okay, for this t, if you take this t, it's closed but we didn't open. Did you understand? So that's why I'm getting an error. So you do like this. You open and close the data with the single, sorry, with the double quotation. For the apostrophe you use single quotation. Okay, it's clear, right? Okay, it's really simple. Okay, so we all know, now we all know the data type of these three, right? Okay, the data type of these three. So it's an integer, this is an integer, and this is float, and this is string. Okay, now you want to print the data type of these three datas. So what do you do? Okay, so we can, so in Python there is a command or a function called type. Okay, use print and use uh, type command. Did you understand? In Python we have this type. So if you use, so like it's a type also, is an inbuilt function in Python. So like it like print. So if you use print, it will output, right? So if you use type, it will print the specific data type of a data. Okay, and again you open a bracket and you put the data. Okay, so once you put the data, first you close this bracket. Did you understand? First you close this bracket and you open this bracket, right? So again you close this. Okay, you do the same thing for these three. So now I'll copy this and I'll paste it twice, and I'll change the data 68.2, and the last one is Raheem. Okay, now I'll save the code and I'll run it. Okay, so first it prints 22 and it prints 68.2 and it prints Raheem. So the first data type is integer. It's an integer, right? So 20. Okay, so the 20 and 22 is the same thing, right? Okay, so here I put 22. Still it's an integer. Okay, if you take 68.2, it's a float. So int means it's an integer. So the last one is a string. Did you understand? So these are the where the basics data types we have in Python. So there are so many data types. Okay, so we'll discuss those data types in upcoming classes. Okay, for now at the first class we're gonna only learn integer, float, and strings. Okay. Okay, now now I'll explain what is a variable. Okay, what is a variable thing? Okay, now I'll erase this. So again, so I hope you all have this tune. Okay, uh, this tune. So in this tune, I have mentioned the Python codings and some explanations. Okay, and also you keep a separate CR book, 80-page CR book. Okay, so I didn't include everything in the tune. Okay, so only the basic things are there. So like in every class I will give extra codes, extra notes, and extra questions. So you write those things in the book. Okay, and also in upcoming classes we will learn flowchart pseudocode and all. Okay, so keep a separate book for Python lesson and write these things, that these explanations and all in your book. Okay. Okay, and now I'll explain what is a variable. Okay, what is a variable? It's like this. Hmm. Okay, so think there's a data. So the data is 60. No, like 22. The age of a student. Okay. Now you think. Now you're gonna use this data multiple times at this code. For example, think there are so many lines in the code. Now you're gonna use this 22 in multiple times. Oh, okay, now I'll take another data like can use anything, right? uh, I'll use a string data. Okay. Like uh, like variables in Python. Okay, variables in Python, it's a string, right? So this is a string. Okay, now you think you're gonna use this string multiple times in the code. Okay, so in every line, so for example, this is how we do, right? Think if you want to print these variables in Python, then you put print and you open the bracket and you put variables in Python and close it. Okay, so this is how we do, right? And you save this and run. Okay, then it will print variables in Python. Think now you're gonna use this data multiple times it in the code. Okay, so in this time, so we have to type the same string again and again, right? Okay, so we have to again type print. So think there are few lines, so after these lines again you have to print this print. You have to print this, then you use print and the same thing. Okay, instead of doing like this, we can use something called variables. Okay, variable. Okay, so first I'll explain the concept. Okay, so you can do like this. Variable variables in Python. Okay, so it's a string, right? Okay, it's a string, so we define strings in quotations. Now what you can do, instead of printing these variables in Python again and again, you can just print a. Did you understand? So I'll print again. Okay, so here what happens then? Here now it prints a means. Okay, so here what we did, I got a variable. Okay, so what is a variable? Variable is like a label or a container. Okay, so it's like a container that holds data. Okay, so that all holds data. Okay, so these variables are stored in RAM. For example, so here what I did, the string variables in Python is assigned to a. So this is not a is equals to variables in Python. Okay, so in maths we tell like a is equals to this thing, right? So especially in programming we always consider the right side. Okay, so first we do the right side part, so the right side and the left. Okay, so here what happens is the string called variables in Python is assigned to okay, to assign to the variable called a. So here what happens, so this a is a container or a data label in the RAM. So you all know what is RAM, right? It's a temporary data storage method. Okay, it's a temporary data storage method. So here what happens, okay, it stores this data, it stores these variables in Python data temporary in the RAM. Okay, so whenever you want to access to this data, simply you can call to this variable. Did you understand? So it's really simple, right? Is it? That's it. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna explain the things we can take for variable names. Okay, this part is not in the tube. Okay, so this part is not in the tube, so it's better to keep a book and write these things in the book. Okay. Okay, now I'll take a simple one. 12, a is equals to 12, right? Okay, now is it I'll do like this. Now one is equals to Raheem. Okay, now I'll run this and we'll see the output. Here we are getting error. The reason is for variable names we can't use numbers. Okay, so you write, you mark these things. Okay, so for variable names we can't start with a number. Start with a number. You understand? So variable names you can't start with a number. Okay, so you can do like this. Okay, so like, so we have, so already we have a no. Okay, so you can use like a1. Now I'll run this. Okay, and I'll print a, and then I'll print a1. Now it works, right? Okay, so if you print a, it will print 12, 12. If you print a1, it will print Rahim. Okay, so the thing is you can't start with a number. Okay, so you can use numbers, but you can't start a variable name with a number. Okay, so after the letters you can use. Okay, the next thing, you can't keep spaces between letters. Okay, for example, a space 1. Okay, now I'll use the same thing. Now I'll run it. If you run it, okay, it's invalid syntax. So the reason is we can't keep spaces. Do you understand? Okay, so we can't keep spaces. Okay, so the first thing, can't start with a number, and the second thing, you can't keep spaces between letters. Okay, uh, now I'll take, okay, think there's student age. Okay, so normally for variable names we use meaningful names. Okay, so now we want to store student age 22. Okay, so now I'll take like this. So you can use anything for variable names. Okay, so just like so now I'll use student age. So the thing is, so if I put like the student age is equals 22, like we can't read it properly, right? Okay, so we normally don't write like this, no. Okay, student age, like we can't understand it, right? Okay, so even we can't space, like we can't keep spaces. Then what we can do? So here in this time can use this underscore. So normally when we define two words in a variable, to combine those two words we use underscores. Okay, underscores. So if we can't even keep spaces, so we use underscores. Okay, now I'll print student age. Okay, print. Okay, now I'll run this. Now if you run this, if you print a, it will print 12. If you print a1, if you print Rahim, print student age, it will print 22. Again, these things are not in the tube, so that's why I told you to keep a separate book. Okay, so actually I didn't include everything. Okay, so if I include everything, like you will just watch the video. Okay, so that's why uh, you keep a CR book and you write these things as well. Okay, so first what do you do? So while watching this video, okay, so you practice these codes in the laptop. Okay, so first you practice these codes in the laptop and you try to understand the concept. So after that you write. Okay, so the writing part is must. The reason is, so in the national level ICT paper we will get a written paper, so it's not a practical paper, right? For example thing, uh, I missed this quotation. Okay, now if I run this, okay, it will show the error, right? Okay, then I know, okay, so I opened the quotation but I didn't close it, then I will close. But in the exams it's not a practical paper, did you understand? So it's a written one, so that's why I'm telling you to write these codes in the book. Okay, then it will be very easy for you. Okay, it's okay, right? Okay, now I'll erase these things. Okay, now now I'll do like this. A is equals to 12. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same variable. Okay, A is equals 13. Okay, now if I print A, what could be the output? Think and tell. Okay, now if I run this, it will print 13. The reason is it won't print 12. The reason is, so this is RAM, right? So here I use the variable called a, no, so first I store 12, right? So if you use the same variable, if you use the same variable name, so what happens is the new value will replace with the old one. Is it clear? Now it's 13. Now if you print a, it will print 13, so the new value for a is 13. It's simple. Okay. Okay, now we'll move to the tut. Okay, so the first topic, so in this class, in the first class, we will learn about data types and variables. uh, okay, so first I'll copy these few lines and I'll run this. Okay, so the output, so if you run these things, you, you will get outputs, right? So those outputs you write in the tut. For example, so a is equals to 12, b is equals 6.67, and Python, right? So if you print a, it will print 12. If you print b, 6.7. If you print c, it will print Python. Do you understand? So likewise, you complete the tut as well. Okay, so the first I'll copy these few lines and I'll paste it here and save and run. Okay, it's really simple. A is equals to 12, b is equals to 6.7, and Python. So if you print A, it will print 12. If you print B, it will print 6.7. If you print C, it will print Python. The type of A is integer, right? It's an integer. It's a number without a decimal point. So if you print type of B, it's a float, a number with a decimal point. So the last one is a string. Okay, str means string. Okay, so what is this? So this is what we call as comments. Okay, actually, so in the output you can't see this thing, right? The data type of b is float. It's not there in the output, right? Okay, so comments are used to describe codes, not to print something. Okay, so think, so this is the first time you are learning Python, right? Okay, so you can't remember everything, no? So when we code, actually we put comments. Okay, like data type of a is integer. Did you understand? So when you open this Python file again, by reading these comments, you can understand the code. Did you understand? Okay, so the comments. Okay, so when you define comment, put the comment after this hashtag mark. So this is how we mention comments. Okay, so in the output we want see comments. Okay, so first you so in the tut first you complete this part. So if you print a, it will print 12. If you print b, it will print 6.7. If you print c, like this, print type of a is integer, float, and string. Okay. Okay, so the next part. So now I'll copy this and I'll paste it, and I'll paste it here. Okay, uh, first I'll run and I'll get the output. So after that I'll explain. Okay, so here what happens is, okay, so we all know these things, right? Up to here it's clear, no? Okay, so here what happens? So again, so in Python, we always, or in any language, we always start from right side. So here, what is the value of A? Value of A is 12 and the value of B is 6.7. Okay, so here what we do, we add these two variables. 12 plus 16.7, how much? Now value of x is 18.7. So if you use another variable, so what happens in the RAM, it will create another variable called x and it will store the value as 18.7. So now if you print x, it will print 18.7. So what is the data type of 18.7? It's a float, right? The reason is we have a decimal point, then it's a float. I think it's clear, right? Okay. Okay, now I'll so again you write the outputs in the tut. Okay, the if you print text, it will print 18.7. These outputs you write in the tut. Okay, and also while explaining these types, I will explain some extra things as well. So you make sure you note down everything and you're practicing in your machine. Okay. Okay, now I'll take another variable. Okay, so the variable is d and I'll put like this 12. Now you tell me what is the type of d, what could be the data type of d. Now if you run this, it is str. The reason is 12, so we know 12 is a number, right? Okay, so if the data type of a, okay, now I'll print the data type of a as well. Okay, now I'll print the data type of A as well. Okay, now I'll run this. Here, the data type of D is string. The data type of A is, it's an integer. The reason is this 12. So if you take this 12 is defined inside quotation. Did you understand? So whatever the things we define inside quotation, okay, it becomes a string. So even 12 is a number. If you put 12 inside quotation, it takes those data as string. So that's why data type of A is integer and data type of D is string. Okay, it's clear, right? Okay, so this again, this part is not in the table, so it's better to put these lines as well in your code. Okay, now the next part. Okay, I'll copy this line and I'll paste it here. Okay, so these are the datas we have. Okay, now you tell me what could be the output for this. Okay, so before I okay, so in the last example, we add these two, right? A and B. So A is integer and B is float. So even A is integer, B is float. So those are numbers, right? So we can add numbers with numbers now. Okay. Now I'll add like this: print uh, A plus. Okay, no. First I'll do like this: A plus B. Okay, A plus B. So we all know if you run this, you will get 18.7. Okay, print A plus B. A is 12, B is 6.7, A plus B is 18.7. Okay, now if I add these to A plus C, what could be the output? Here we are getting an error. You read the error. The error is integer and strings we can't add, right? So string, if you take strings are textual data. So textual data we can't add with numbers, no. Okay, so that's it. Did you understand? So we can add float with float, integer with integer, or float with integer, but we can't add integers and float or numbers with strings. Okay, so if you want add, you have to do like this. Okay, the next thing is like the, okay, if you take this line, okay, we'll see what could be the output. So this is u, so we all know this is a string, right? Okay, so this is mentioned inside a quotation, so this is string. So here actually in Python we can change data types of variables or datas. Okay, now we all know original data type of a is integer. Okay, original data type of a is integer. Now actually we can convert this integer into string or float. So this is how you convert. So what you do, you use this str command. So after, so if you use this str command, what happens is it will convert a data type into str. For example, if you put b, so even we can convert this float or integer into str. So here what happens is a is 12, right? Initial value of a is 12 and it's an integer. So here what happens is if you convert this 12 into string, it becomes like this. Now it's a string. Did you understand? So here we have this quotation now, and plus u. If you put u, what happens is, so this is not addition. So we call this one as string concatenation. Okay, so string concatenation. So string concatenation means now it brings these two together like this 12 u. Did you understand? So now I'll run this. Okay, now if you run this, now if you run this, did you understand? Now you get 12 view. Is it clear? So here what we did, we actually converted the data type of a into string. That's it, and we add these two. Okay, so in the output, we can't see space, right? The reason is actually we didn't keep a space in the code. Okay, so if you want to keep a space, you can't do like this. So after this STRA, even if you keep a space or multiple spaces in the output, you can't see any space. Okay, so if you want to keep a space, you can do like this. After this plus, you keep a space. So this is how you do. You use single quotation or double quotation. Inside the double quotation, you keep a space and you add the next string. Okay, now if you do like this, now after 12 you get a space. Did you understand? Now if you keep multiple spaces, okay, uh, now if you keep multiple spaces, again in the output you get multiple spaces. Okay, now I'll keep only one. Okay, now we have 12 view. Do you understand? So in the no, in the tutor also only this part is there. Okay, and you mention this one as well. So if you want to keep a space, this is how you do. So that's why I told you to keep a book and mark these things. Okay, now the next one is this. Okay, so we have already discussed this one, right? Okay, so we all know the data type of this. What is the data type? So 20.3, so 20.3 is a float, right? It's a float, but it's inside, so it defines inside quotation. So whatever the things defines inside quotation, it becomes a string, right? Okay, now if I run this, uh, in the output we'll have class is string. Okay, it's really simple. Okay, the data type of 20.3 is a string. That's it. Okay, okay, the next one, the next one. Okay, so here, mm, so always starts from right side. Okay, 12. So now you know 12 is a string, right? So even it's a number, it defines inside quotation, so then it becomes string. So here what I did, I converted this string into integer using in command or in function. So here what happens is, now it will remove this quotation. Now it becomes a string. Now 12 plus a is also 12. So 12 again, a is an integer, right? Now 12 plus 12 is 24. Do you understand? Now in the output, now in the output, now in the output, you get 24. Okay, it's clear, right? So 12, we know 12 is a string, and I converted this string into integer, and I add these two, then you get 24. Okay. Okay, so tell me the output. Okay, now tell me the output for this. Okay, now I'll do like this. Float a. Okay, so we all know a is an integer, right? 12. So if you convert integer into float, okay, so what happens is it will become a float. So after this 12, it add zero point 0. So 12 and 12.0 has same values, right? But 12, so in Python 12, so if you take 12, then the data type of 12 is an integer, but this 12.0, it's a float. Okay, you understand the difference? Okay, no. uh, now I convert this thing into b into integer, then what happens? So 6.7, right? So 6.7, is it b 6.7? So now if I convert b into integer, then what happens? So normally in maths we round off this number, right? 6.7 is near to 7, so it becomes 7. But in Python what happens is it only takes the integer part. Did you understand? So if you convert any float number into integer, what happens? For example, think 199.999. so if you convert this float number into integer, what happens is it simply remove this decimal part. So even this exam, in this one, it simply remove this part. We only get the whole number 6. That's it. So it won't round off. Okay, hope you understood. Again, these things are not in the tune. It's better to mention these things as well. So that's why, for so while watching this video, so first you practice the code in your machine and you write in your book. Okay, now the last line is this. Okay, so what could be the output for this? Tell me. Okay. Okay, so this is how you do. Okay, so if I run the if I run the code, I'll get the output. So before I run, first I'll explain. So a, first you take a. So what is a? A is 12. So here what I did, first I converted this a into float, right? Then what happens? So it becomes a float, 12.0. Then what I did, I converted this 12.0 into string. So if you convert this 12.0 into string, it will become like this. uh, it will become a string. Now it is 12.0. If you take c is a string, right? So c is Python. Okay, now this is string concatenation. Now if you add these two, the output will become like this: Python 12.0 and no spaces. Did you understand? So the reason is, after plus we didn't keep any spaces now, so the output is Python 12.0. So this is how it works. Now if I run this, okay, now if I run this, in the output I will get Python 12.0. Okay, Okay, so these are the basic things. Okay, so first, so as I told you, first practice the codes in the laptop or, or in a machine, uh, and uh, and you write the codes in the book. Okay, so while practicing the codes you complete the tut as well. Okay, so you write the output for these things. Okay, so I have mentioned so many extra points and extra things. I hope you all mark those things as well. Okay, now we're gonna do a question related to this topic. Okay, now we're gonna do a question. So okay, so first, so now you don't type. Okay, so this is a another application called Tony. Okay, so in this Tony also we can type Python codes. Okay, so just search Tony. Okay, Tony download. Okay, so it's also Python IAD for beginners. Okay, so the Tony also really good. Okay, so you use Tony or you use Python ideally. Okay, now first what you do, you don't type these codes. So first you don't type these codes in the laptop or in the machine. First what you do, you write these things in the book, and you write the output. So after that you type these codes in the laptop and you check the answers. Okay, so first don't, so the first don't type it. Okay, so now you have the understanding, right? What is integer and what is float, string, and how those things works. Okay, you have the understanding now. Okay, so that's why first write these things in the book and write the outputs as well, and then you type it and check your answers. Okay, just pause the video, and write these things. So after that you check your answers. Okay, now I'll do this question. So A is equals to n. Okay, okay. B is equals to 5.5. C is learn 24. So this is so this is integer. So I know this is integer and this is float, and these two are strings. So if you print A, it will print 10. This is 5.5. This is learn. So type of A is integer. This is an integer. Type of B is float. Type of C is string. Okay, a plus b is assigned to x, so 10 plus 5.5 is 15.5, so 15.5 is assigned to x. So if I print x, I get 15.5. So the data type of 15.5 is float. So then here what I did, str a, so still a, so a still is 10. The data type of A is integer, right? So I converted this integer into string. No, then it will become like this: 10 plus C is learn. So this is string concatenation. So then in the output we get learn 10. Okay, okay. Now this one. So even if we convert A into string, this is only for this line. It won't change the original data type. Okay, still original data type of A is integer. Okay, so this is only for this line. So if you take A in this line, still A is integer. It is 10, not, so it's not string. Here what I did, I converted D into integer. So what is D? 25. I converted D into integer, mean now it becomes as a number. So 25 plus 10 is 35. Now 35 is assigned to Y. If you print Y, you get 35. If you print type of 5, you get, so it's an integer, right? It's an integer. Then you get as integer. Okay, the last one, a is 10. I converted into float, then it becomes 10.0. str means it becomes like this: 10.0 string plus C is learn. So in the output I get learn 10.0. Again, no spaces, no. So in the output also, you won't get any spaces. Okay, now I'll run this. I'll copy this code into Python. Just and I'll run this now. If you run this code, you will get these outputs. 10 if you print A10 and 5 learn and these things. Okay, these are the outputs. So first you write the codes in the book and you try to get the output, uh, and you practice these codes in the laptop. Okay, okay guys, then that's it for the first video. So in the first video we learned about data types and variables in Python. So in the next class we will learn arithmetic operations, the comparison operations, and bitwise and shift rotation. Okay, uh, okay, then we'll see you in the next class.